All right. He said it. It's for Regina Motor Products. Snow's coming. Get those winter tires or winter tires changed over. They also have a little nugget. Heard it on the streets today. The winter tire offer's now on. A set of 4 eligible winter tires before December 31st receive $120 in instant rebates at RMP. Thanks for making time. It is Wednesday. I'm here all by my lonesome, and I got Colson. Colson's riding shotgun. So it's just the two of us and you. The Sports Cage today. Jays, Dodgers. We're going to talk about that. Arash Madani's going to come in, talk about the game last night. Lots from the Riders. West Division, 10 divisional all CFL honors for the Riders today. We're going to hear from some of them. We're going to hear from Coach Mace, Jake Mayer, CJ Rivas as well. So we got you covered there. We're going to give away 2 tickets to the West Final again today. How we're going to do that, stay tuned. We'll let you know. It's going to involve the Prairie Land Rentals text line and the phone line possibly. We're going to have Regina Pat tickets to give away. They play tonight against Brandon. We're going to be doing that in the first hour. I can give you the heads up on that. Hour 2, Eric Francis, our NHL insider, is going to join us. Never know where that conversation is going to go. Little sprinkle of the day, some clutch performer. Jock Wilson from the Calgary Stampeders broadcast team, pre- and post-game show, which we're covering here on 620 CKRM Sunday. Jock Wilson will come in. We'll talk about the West semifinal. Dustin Nielson in hour 3 from TSN, from Edmonton Sports Talk. He starts off hour 3. We'll talk football, hockey. I'll throw in some baseball with Dusty as well. We're going to hear the junior football report and a whole lot more. If you're listening to the stream, thank you very much. You can catch that stream anywhere you listen to audio streams. The YouTube channel is always on. Looking forward to the conversation there today through sportscage.com. It's free. This is all free, by the way. I know sometimes my mom is like, well, how do I pay to get on that? You don't got to pay anything. It's YouTube. Just go on. Sometimes you got to deal with about, 50 pop-up ads. Depends what you're watching, but it's free. And then 620 CKRM on the radio, which we found out yesterday. And I got to some of the text messages again this morning. Thanks to everybody who texted in. Colson was overwhelmed, but he made it work. His wheel of winning, it's legit. I saw it. It was jam-packed with people winning, trying to win West semifinal tickets, because all we wanted to know yesterday is, how do you listen? And Colson, it would be radio heavy, then the streams, and then YouTube, safe to say?
For people that were texting in, yeah. Because there's obviously the people on YouTube who are watching and messaging on there. But yeah, people texting in, very heavy radio. Very heavy radio.
I feel the people that listen in podcast form after, they kind of get ripped off in this deal.
Yeah, if they listen on YouTube, they can comment on YouTube and we read some of those comments. But again, you're not live with us. It's not as easy to interact.
I know. The live thing. Well, maybe we'll try and figure out something for the people that listen tonight or tomorrow morning or when they're out for their stroll, doing what they do. We'll try and maybe figure out there. But we do have tickets to give away again today to the West semifinal. Now, we're going to get to Riders. We're going to get to hockey. We got to start with baseball. We got to start with the Jays and the Dodgers and what they're doing. Did you watch the game last night? Did you watch it, Colson?
I had it on in here while I was editing. Kept me distracted.
Man, I was the Jays. Excuse me. The line went where they were even more of an underdog, and on Sports Select, I had them. I had the Jays straight win, so it looked great. And then, but it all starts with Vladdy on Shohei. And do we have the audio of that?
Hit well to deep left center. And this one will go.
It did go. It did. Once that happened, it still wasn't. No one was going, wow, this one's over. It was tight. The question I have today, and this is how you're going to be able to win West Final tickets, where if you're not going to the West Final, I think they almost sold 1,000 tickets yesterday because you got tickets starting at $33. You got the family $100 for 2 adults, 2 kids, $25 a ticket. That's crazy talk. Then you got it even gets crazier with the co-op zone. I don't know when that's going to sell out. You go to your co-op, it's only $20 to watch the game. So get them before you don't have them and then fear missing out and you're sitting there, all your buddies and friends are going and you're like, well, why am I'm not going. And let's hope the weather holds off. But we're going to give away the West Final tickets on the show today. And it's through the Prairie Land Rentals text line, 600 Albert Street. Anything you need a rental, you get to deal with the owner. I want to know this Shohei Ohtani. And I've made it known, I'm not the biggest baseball fan. I know a lot of you out there are. I know some of you aren't. And maybe you're not watching what this guy is doing, but he pitches, and he's a really good pitcher. And then when he's not pitching, he plays, I think it's first base, and you're scared to pitch to him because almost everything he hits goes out of the ballpark. Kind of a freak of nature. I'm really just getting into it. I knew what he was doing for the last few years, but now watching it, I'm like, whew. My kid last night comes up to me before he's leaving, he's watching, and he goes, what, did you know, Dad, that he has 7 different pitches? And I'm like, huh? Like, is that even possible in baseball? I'm a fastball guy from way back. I know fastball. You got a knuckler. You got a curveball. You got the drop and the fastball, obviously. Changeup. And then in fastball, you got a rise ball, which is really cuckoo to hit. But I'm like, 7 pitches in baseball. I'm like, how is that even a thing? And then Colson, you did some research and you pulled it. If you're watching the stream, there's a little chart here that Colson found.
Yeah. Now, again, we are not the baseball experts here.
Definitely not.
But this chart has 12 different pitches on it. Obviously, you have the fastball. I don't think I realized there's 2 fastballs. There's the 4-seam, that's the fastest you're going.
Okay.
And there's the 2-seam, which is a little slower, but has some movement on it. Splitter, slider, I've heard those. Curveball, screwball. I don't think anyone's throwing the knuckleball anymore. There's a slurve, which I'm guessing that's like a slider curveball. There's a fork ball. See, when you mentioned that, and you said the fork ball, and I was like, oh, I remember hearing about a fork ball. What the heck is a fork ball? And it shows on the diagram. If you're watching the stream, I don't know. Does it drop a bit more than it looks like sinker? A slider that drops more, kind of.
It's like a sinker that doesn't move as much. I don't know. Maybe. A slurve. Anybody out there know this? Any old pitchers from way back or bat catchers? Even better. The types of baseball pitches. So the question I have to you today, out there, 936-6262. If you want to call in, and this is really going to screw you up, Colson, on your wheel of winning, you get 2 entries into the draw for the West Final tickets. A text message, we're putting you in. In your lifetime, we're all different demographics, and Colson, I'll throw this out to you because you're younger. An athlete, it doesn't have to be a team sport, just an athlete that did something that we might never see again. Now, preface it with, I think we are going to see this Shohei Ohtani thing, the pitcher-batter thing, happen again. Because now it probably will be, I don't want to say a trend, because you got to be a freak of nature and an athlete to do it, but I just think it's going to be replicated. I bet you it's already being replicated in Japan. where they are absolutely crazy for their baseball. And when they're, it's like he's a genetic freak is what he is. So who in your lifetime have you watched with your eyeballs that you were like that guy or that girl is unbelievable? Like I can't even believe what I'm watching. The ones that came to mind for me, along with the Shohei Ohtani fellow, Usain Bolt, 8 Olympic medals, world records still in the 100 and 200 and 4x1. You don't even have to be big into sprinting. Like I think a lot of us in my demo, you throw out the word Ben Johnson, you chuckle, but then you remember him in Seoul, Korea, built like a fridge with, but a slimmer and his chest. How is this guy? Yeah, well, obviously he was on the juice. Usain Bolt.
I just remember the iconic picture of him in the lead looking back at everyone smiling, and he's won the race, and there's still like 10 meters to go. Like,
freak of nature.
Literally.
Freak of nature. Here's another one. Michael Phelps. I don't know, and it's hard to say, that's probably never going to be beat. We're never going to see that again. You never know. And the way kids are training now and supplements.
Have you heard of Summer McIntosh?
Yeah, Summer McIntosh on the female side. But Michael Phelps, 28 medals. The most decorated Olympian of all time. Take a seat, Nadia Comaneci. I don't even know how many she had. I'm not a big tennis guy. I know Arash is. There have been some runs in tennis, but I don't think there's like one person, female or male, that really runs away with it. Like they've run away with it in spurts.
Yeah.
And like in men's, it was like Federer, Djokovic, Nadal. On the women's side, it was like the Williams sisters, and then you'd slide in like Steffi Graf was a little bit before that time, and those ladies. Martina Navratilova. That's even kind of almost before my time, but tennis is tough. So I would say the Usain Bolt, Michael Phelps for me, but then the other one, and this one's weird because he doesn't hold the records, but anytime this guy did his sport, it was almost like, why is everyone else here? Like you're playing for second place. He was a freak. He was an absolute mental freak, physical freak. And when it came to the game of golf, it was like, how does this guy do it? Like every weekend or every major. It was Tiger Woods. And I know he never beat Jack's record. And there's going to be people that text in that are from more of the Jack era that are like, Jack still holds the record. That is true. Because Tiger was a bit of a Band-Aid. Like the military training in army boots and jogging, and it all caught up with him in his back. And then, the car accident. Obviously, the divorce didn't help, but I don't think he was really focused on his relationship when everything came out anyway. So that might have been water off a duck's back, a little bit more embarrassing for a week. Then he just went on with his thing. But he was a guy, and I remember watching it early 2000s into 2000s. I was like, is this guy ever going to lose again? I got to watch him live at the 2009 PGA Championship in Chaska, Minnesota, where he lost to, what's the Korean guy's name? And we were there on 18, and we saw, it was like, Tiger just lost? Like, that's not possible. And it's a major. He was just, I don't remember this guy's name. It was just something, Y.E. Yang. Y.E. Yang beat Tiger. What? Are you sure? Yeah, he did on 18. We got a picture, right? It's such a cool picture because there was no security. All the security was going forward after. None of the security worried about anyone going back. So we went and walked the back nine. They were throwing out signs. They were throwing out big banners. They're like, do you want this? So we went and took a picture on a bunch of the greens, and then we took a picture right where he hit that hybrid on the grass, right beside the bunker on 18, and we all got a group photo there. We wrote PGA 09 in the sand like people do on the beach, and we all took a picture in the sand trap. It was awesome, but no one was around because everyone was worried about people going that way, and it's like we tricked them. We went the other way, but Y.E. Yang beat Tiger Woods. I was there, and then Tiger kind of fell apart and whatever. But Shohei Ohtani, I don't know. I don't know how you can play and then, hey, you're going to pitch tomorrow. Like it's a little league game or a senior men's game. Is there anybody that comes to mind out there? 936-6262. Text in. Somebody, this qualifies for the tickets. Kevin in Foam Lake. This qualifies because he says Joey Chestnut, a freak in the hot dog eating world. And you know what? It might not be classified technically as a sport. It's an activity.
Still need to be a heck of an athlete.
I don't know how he does it.
He's still got to train. Like, that's nuts.
I don't know how. Yeah. So Kevin, good point. When it comes back to the Jays and Dodgers and last night and Vladdy hitting that home run, John Schneider here talks about Vladdy going deep off the one and only Shohei Ohtani.
I get that it's easy to write Ohtani versus Guerrero. To us, it's Toronto versus Los Angeles, but that swing was huge. You know what I mean? That a sweeper is a pitch designed to generate pop-ups, in my opinion, and the swing that Vlad put on it was elite. And after last night and kind of all the recognition that went into Shohei individually, and he's on the mound today, it's a huge swing from Vlad. It's a huge swing to get us going. And I think that gives you some momentum. And, Shohei settled in, struck out quite a few in a row after that. But our at-bats there kind of it was a Blue Jay inning, you know what I mean? Varsh, Ernie, and then you kind of went to work. But the swing from Vlad was game changer.
Yeah. He did strike out a lot of dudes. He struck out a lot of dudes after that home run. So I don't think any Blue Jay fans out there were thinking, we're okay. Brennan, you are entered for the West Final tickets because even though he might not be totally serious here, he says Duron Carter playing offense and defense for the Riders. I'm waiting for someone to say Travis Hunter,
yeah.
Because he's kind of doing it a little bit in the NFL.
Yeah, they're really limiting his plays, so he's not being as impactful as he could be.
I knew I was waiting for someone to text in this, and I think someone else might have, but Jeff, you popped up on the top. And hey, to each their own. Gretzky in his prime. See, I'm kind of around that when Gretzky was doing his thing in the early 80s, and we only had 3 channels. So when hockey was on, you were watching hockey. If not, you were playing it on the street or in the backyard or wherever. So I'm Gretzky. If you think Gretzky in his prime, for sure, I think. Imagine if Mario Lemieux would have stayed healthy, because that guy was big, strong, could score. But yeah, there's going to be Gretzky's. So Jeff, you're in for the tickets for sure. We're going to get this a lot. We need to know where you're from, Colin. So we've got a lot of Collins that text in to figure out which one's which. Bo Jackson. Again, kind of my time. I wasn't paying enough to Major League Baseball and NFL at that time to know the greatness and what we were seeing. I've watched the 30 for 30 on him after, and it's just too bad. I think it was his hips that were really bad? But he was so much better after watching that 30 for 30 than I thought he was. And then being able to do that, being able to play in 2 professional leagues at the same time. Keep them coming. Prairie Land Rentals text line. Anything you need, rent. And they're your Husqvarna dealer. If you're looking for a snow thrower when the snow comes, Prairie Land Rentals, 600 Albert Street. The number's 936-6262. Colson, I'm going to get the Bieber clip here. Because remember 24 hours ago when we were talking and I talked to Andrew Alberts, who we're going to have on tomorrow again. And I was like, hey, were they actually going to put in a player to pitch? He was like, no. Like they were going to find a way. So we find out that Bieber was ready to go in game 3.
Yeah, sort of volunteered. Actually, credit to Max. Max is always one step ahead. He started last night, right? And then we find ourselves in like the 11th or 12th inning, and he's like, Biebs, if this gets squirrely, you could tell the wheels were turning. And he's like, can you pitch? And I was like, yeah, I can. And so went and told Schneids and Pete, and Pete was like, yeah, we might need you as a last resort. And I think I was probably very close to getting the ball. But ultimately, I choose to believe it's working out the way that it's supposed to work out, and was able to make the start tonight.
Yeah. He sounds like a regular guy. Like he sounds like a regular dude. Heather's saying there's no audio on the YouTube stream. We're playing it. Thanks, Heather, for the heads up. We'll fix that ASAP. Coming in, Roscoe, you're not entered with that. You're not. Sorry, Roscoe. Curtis and Moose Jaw, don't get me wrong. You're not gonna hard pressed to find. I shouldn't say that. I hate when people say that. I'm a big Patriots fan. I'm a Tom Brady fan. I was never really a Belichick fan. So you're entered to win, but Tom Brady wasn't at this level because Peyton Manning was kind of doing the same thing, figuring out defenses and being so cerebral and all that. But we're gonna give it to you. There's no wrong answers here. Curtis from
Except
Moose
Roscoe's.
Roscoe, you're definitely wrong answer, man. Devin Hester. That yeah, because he was a one-trick pony, but he was a little bit of a cheat code for a bit. It says Well from Regina. Should it be Will? You spell that wrong? Or is his name Well? Hey, my name's Barney, so I'm the last guy to judge on names. I just want to make sure you got that right in case you win. Jordan, come on, man. Jordan and Glen Avon. Can you fact check that before I read it? Because maybe it's a relative of his. And then try and pronounce that name. Is it legit? Is he a weightlifter?
It's appearing legit.
Vladimir, I love that name. Shmodenko. Vladimir Shmodenko, a.k.a. Anatoly? The weightlifter. Never heard of him.
Anatoly Pizarenko is the weightlifter. Now I'm just looking up the Vladimir part.
Vladimir Shmodenko. Come on down. Yeah. Wait, Jordan from Glen Avon, you're in to win the tickets, so. Not much of a weightlifter guy. Used to do lots of pec deck and universal. Lots of arm curls. 50 sets of 50. But yeah, you're in. Gary in Winnipeg. Oy. How about Bomber CFL great Kenny Plone? Never heard of him. Who played quarterback and defensive back when he played for the Bombers in the 1950s. That's really cool, Gary. I didn't know. But you'd have to go back. A guy that could play both sides of the ball in the CFL like that. Quarterback and defensive back.
That's what Ronnie had to do, right? I think it was Rob Vanstone said that one time when he was in here back in the day. Because that was still when they were playing both ways. Vladimir Shmodenko.
Vladimir
is a YouTuber who goes by Anatoly. He is a weightlifter. Uh-huh. He primarily does this thing where he will be mopping up in a gym, and then hand somebody the mop.
Yes.
And it's like 50 pounds and they drop it.
That's who that guy is?
Apparently.
I've seen those.
Yeah.
I should almost give that guy 2 entries.
Yeah.
That's good.
To his credit, though, he is still a proper weightlifter. Like,
is he?
330 bench, 640 deadlift, 460 squat.
Shows up to the gym with a weight belt guy. Love weight belt. Chalk guy. Okay, we got a bunch more. We got to take a break though. We're gonna get to these a bit, and we also have our friend Arash Madani coming up. Let's win some West Final tickets. Let's have some fun on the Sports Cage on this Wednesday for Regina Motor Products. Get those tires changed over. You're going to be regretting yourself possibly next week this time. The tire changeover ends October 31st. That's Friday. They also have the winter tire offer on right now, $120 in instant rebates. Regina Motor Products. Great fans of the show. We love them. It's the Sports Cage. We're streaming through our YouTube channel at sportscage.com. All right. You guys are awesome. Sports Cage for Regina Motor Products. Our guests are always joining us on the Western Pizza guest hotline. Made the mistake of not eating again today properly, so come 5 o'clock, going to be hungry. It might be pick up a wheel, watch baseball night, maybe some souvlaki, dry ribs. Souvlaki day, some salad. Western Pizza guest hotline. We're waiting for Arash Madani to tune in. He'll be here in a bit. Prairie Line Rentals text line buzzing. We're going to get back to your text in a bit. We're going to talk about the Riders. Riders lead West Division with 10 divisional all CFL honorees. I read this and I was like, what? They have 10 division all-stars. Just the 4th time in Rough Rider history that the club has had 10 or more players represented on the divisional all CFL all-star list. 11 Rough Riders are represented in 1966 and 76. And the Rough Riders also had 10 in 1967. To everybody involved. That's quite the feat. That's impressive. Now, it's Keyshawn Johnson, wide receiver. Dante Myers, wide receiver. Logan Furlan, center. Jamarcus Hardrick, right tackle. Micah Johnson, defensive tackle. Jameer Thurman, linebacker. CJ Rivas, cover linebacker. Roland Milligan Jr., defensive halfback. And my boy, Tavon Campbell, cornerback. But the other guy there for the 10th is Jacob Brammer, right guard. Nice to see. Here's Brammer talking on what it means to be a CFL all-selection.
It means a lot. I mean, it was a big surprise to me this morning when I saw it. Like, I never expected it, but really good surprise to have this morning. So excited about it, but work's not done. So
there we go. Work's not done. Work's not done. Brammer again here, and what does it mean to be named alongside Jamarcus Hardrick and Logan Furland?
It means a lot. I mean, I've learned a lot from them, just showing up to work every day, seeing their hard work that they put in. So just trying to take a page out of their book every day and try to do what they do.
It's quite the feat. Things are good. Things are good in Riderville. We saw this coming. Not this past May, the May before. What they were building is unbelievable. Coach Mace, what they've been able to do. I get it. We're the official Rider broadcaster, but you can't dispute it. Jeffrey on the YouTube chat, got to mention him at least once a show. Jeffrey says, Stamps did well with 7. I agree, because going into the season, let's remember, Stamps, we thought they might be a little bit of a dumpster fire. But they turned things over. They turned things around there. Coach Mace talked about the CFL West Division players that were named today.
Just you're happy, you're proud of those guys for getting recognized for that. I thought, we had a pretty good season, and naturally what comes with that is, they see guys who stand out and are making impactful plays. We acknowledged it today and showed love, but then we just got work to do, man.
It's hard to believe. 10 or more players represented. And And you had 11 in 66, 11 in 1976, and they had 10 in 67. And since then, there's been some wagons. They've had some good teams. Some of them underachieved in the playoffs. Some of them went and ran the table. But to say the last time was 60, or the last time would be 76. What else do we got here? Coach Mace, they're back on the practice field today. It's been a nice little few days off. He is talking about what the goals are this week with the extra practice time.
Just be more detail-oriented, lock into some of the fundamentals of the foundation of who we are, and really just keep the energy where it should be. And again, just execution. It's that time of year, and anybody can win any game. We're in a situation where we have been throwing around bonus week. We get to do this, so we're going to take advantage of it.
We'll hear more from the Riders and Coach Mace coming up. But that time, like I said, Western Pizza. Everyone's time to get hungry. Let's go. Let's go talk to Arash Madani. Let's talk some baseball.
It's time to go coast to coast with Arash Madani for Smart Investing Solutions. Be smart with your money. Call Brian Gawley at Smart Investing Solutions, 546-2533.
Can you hear me? Testing.
Gotcha,
1, 2, testing. Okay, before we get going, I got to throw in this to you quick. So we got about 8 minutes with you. I don't want to waste time. But I've been asking people in the text line, Prairieland or Western Pizza guest hotline, Arash joining us, Prairieland Rentals text line. It's steaming because I'm thinking last night, watching it with my son. You're texting, you think it's really cool that I'm watching it with my kids, and I'm like, what does this remind me of? Like watching what this guy is doing. And obviously in baseball, I don't know. I don't watch it closely enough. It hasn't been done since Babe Ruth and, being able to pitch and hit. And then I start thinking about what about just athletes in general that I've watched in my time with my eyeballs that you kind of go, well, I don't think I'll ever see that again, or I might never see that again. So off the gun, I was like, Usain Bolt. And I'm like, I don't know. Michael Phelps. Like 28 medals. I don't know the tennis game enough. I know but tennis it always is like, okay, this guy was really good, and then this guy was good, and this guy's good on clay, and this guy's good on grass, and this guy's good on rocks or whatever they play on.
Let me throw this one at you, Barney. If you're of a certain vintage, Bo Jackson and Deion Sanders were playing two sports at the same time. Prime. Deion, remember, played an NFL game at 1:00 and either an NLCS or a World Series game at 8 on the same day.
Wasn't it a helicopter trip involved in there? Yeah.
And Pat O'Brien of CBS Sports, this is before you created your own content, he was on the ride with Prime Time. But Bo was out of this world. Like, Bo was just a machine.
We've had Bo. We've had people text in Bo. There we go. We have Devin says Deion Sanders. So there's I got about 30 text messages to get to here. But then here's the other thing, Arash. Last night, my son, who's watched literally 2 Major League Baseball games in his life, he's been to a couple live ones. He doesn't really remember them because he was running around eating Cracker Jacks and screwing around up in the whatever at the Arizona park there. But he goes, hey, did you hear that Ohtani guy can throw 7 different pitches? And I'm like, is that possible?
I'm like, possible.
So then Colson looks it up, and here's the chart again. I didn't even know there was that many types of pitches in baseball. But who else throws even remotely that many, Arash? I just educate me.
Nobody. Which makes the Guerrero home run even that much more impressive when you consider the arsenal, when you consider the stuff, when you consider the rivalry between the friendly rivalry between the two of them, when you consider that they were trying to bring Ohtani to Toronto and it didn't work out, and then they ended up giving Vlad the bag. And then really, with the season on the line, Guerrero just smashes a two run over the left field wall, and that's the reminder of, oh man, he's mortal. And from there, Ohtani wasn't lights out anymore.
Yeah, and like when he turns on, it's like that's like a batting practice. Like I thought he hit it on the screws. I think the announcers are saying he didn't quite catch it, and I'm like, okay, well, obviously that's why I'm not in that position. What about last night? What about pitching? Arash? What did you see?
Well, Barney, we so often talk about trade deadlines in sport. And the Blue Jays at the deadline this year went out and got a former Cy Young Award winner who was riddled with questions. Because this time last year, this dude wasn't even throwing. He's coming off Tommy John surgery. He's barely even gripping a baseball. And then they go get Shane Bieber for these moments, for a playoff race, for September, and then ultimately for October. And Shane Bieber absolutely shut the door on the most potent in all of baseball. And from there, as if that wasn't enough, you go get Chris Bassett, who you've taken out of the rotation, put into the bullpen, and Bassett gives you multiple innings of shutout baseball. That combo to get not only Bieber dealing for you, but then Bassett giving you length, changed the whole complexion of this series. And so, how often do we talk about starting pitching being a factor? The trade deadline acquisition as a starter, and then a starter who's now a reliever just for this very moment, they both get it done. I'm watching it, and I'm doing some things, laundry, and I'm kind of coming back, and I'm like, oh, Ohtani was up, and then he strikes him out, and I'm like, what? Again? I'm like, okay. Then, Arash, the looks on the faces when they pan to the crowd in the 7th inning, because the Jays poured it on. Yep, they poured it on. And it was one after another after another. And you know what it was, Barney? I think part of it was shock because nobody coming to the stadium that night saw it coming. I think there were a lot of people who went to Chavez Ravine saying 18 innings the night before, that was the knockout blow. I think part of it was shock. Part of it was, oh, bleep, these guys are right back in it and they can hit and they're for real. And this is far from over. Like all of a sudden, Barney, this is a best of 3 series. And the Blue Jays have home field for 2 of those 3 if necessary. Like this has changed the dynamic. So now the question becomes, what of George in the field today at Dodger Stadium? He hit off a batting machine. I still can't see him being in the starting lineup, but their scenario he pinch hits. Otherwise, I think they're really hoping he'd be ready for Friday night in Toronto.
Yeah, and no doctor, don't know, not there. What I would just think is if he's able to do that, if he's able to hit already, just let him rest it another 48, however many hours.
Sure.
And then look, and you got to go, okay, look what we did last night. Maybe it was an anomaly. Maybe we are that good. Maybe we can get on that. Take me through the pitching matchup tonight.
So Trey Savage again, man, your boy.
Yep.
Your boy, who now becomes the youngest pitcher to start multiple World Series games in the 2000s. Like in more than a quarter century, it's Savage who gets the ball, and he goes up against Blake Snell, who really struggled in Game 1 of this World Series, if you may remember. Yeah. And the Blue Jays ended up, pouring it on him. Look, it's vet against the kid. It's Snell, who's been through it before. He pitched for Tampa in 2020 in the World Series. A guy who's got real stuff. Can he rebound? And look, at 2-2, Barney, this is so much the swing game of a series. 46 times, a World Series in a best of 7. 46 times it's been 2-2. The winner of Game 5 has gone on to win 31 of those 46 times. This is a big one because remember, Yamamoto's going Game 6 for the Dodgers. And we saw what he did in Game 2 in Toronto. So this is a massive one for the kid who just continues to show that the moment isn't too big for him. Let's now see if the Dodger bats are, because Dave Roberts shuffled his lineup for Savage tonight.
Okay. I want to leave. We got about a minute and 20 seconds. I'm going to play this clip, and I'm sure you've interviewed this guy or you've talked to him other time. He sounds like such a dude. Bieber talking about almost pitching in Game 3. Here it is.
Yeah, sort of volunteered. Actually, credit to Max. Max is always one step ahead. He started last night, right? And then we find ourselves in like the 11th or 12th inning, and he's like, Biebs, if this gets squirrely, you could tell the wheels were turning. And he's like, can you pitch? And I was like, yeah, I can. And so went and told Schneids and Pete, and Pete was like, yeah, we might need you as a last resort. And I think I was probably very close to getting the ball. But ultimately, I choose to believe it's working out the way that it's supposed to work out, and was able to make the start tonight.
That's exactly how I would think it would go down. It's like just buddies talking, right? You know?
I don't know if you paid attention to that dugout, Barney. Max Scherzer will talk to anybody who will listen. He was over there next to Gosman. He's over there talking to Savage. He slides up next to Bieber after Shane got out of the game yesterday. It's almost like he's so wound up that he just needs to kind of share his thoughts. But how about a 40-something-year-old vet who can be a de facto coach who's already looking ahead a few innings and at the bullpen saying, hey, Biebs, you may want to get some stretches in. We may need you.
So you called it. You said swing game tonight coming up here in moments. Do I bet with my heart again since I'm such a hardcore Jays fan?
Such a hardcore Jays fan. I don't know. It's always my answer for baseball, but I will say this. Dave Roberts shuffling the deck is interesting. He's moved Will Smith out of the cleanup role into the 2 spot. He drops Mookie Betts to 3rd. Freeman's batting cleanup. Max Muncy, who hit the home run in game 2, he slides from the 5 hole down to the 7 hole, and they've made a change in right field in the 9 spot. Like, Dave Roberts is going all in to try and disrupt Trey Savage. It's the October of the unfathomable kind of continues. So how do you go with this one? I truly just don't know.
The Sports Select odds makers, the pros, aren't giving you Savage much respect. I can tell you that much. So we'll see what happens.
It's a lot of respect for Snell. It's more respect for Snell, I think, than the other way around.
I love calling myself out, because I could give a rip. What's the Hernandez's name from Los Angeles? There's 2 of them. The
Teoscar, who you remember from the Jays, being the hardcore Blue Jay fan that you are. Yeah.
Say the other guy's first name.
Enrique Kike Hernandez. So here's a dude. No player in Los Angeles Dodgers history has suited up in more playoff games for the Dodgers than Kike Hernandez. How about that one?
Kike?
Kike. Enrique is his name.
Yeah, because that's what I can't figure out when he goes up. Right. I'm like, where's this Kike, or is it KK? What are they calling him?
Yeah.
Okay. Kike. Okay, I'm glad I don't. There's been sleepless nights because of this. I'm like, what's the guy's name? What does it look like Enrique? And what do they call it? Anyway, hey, we get to do this again tomorrow. I'm sure I'll text you tonight. I'll let you know where I'm putting my sprinkles.
Sounds good.
Right on. There's a bonus edition of Coast to Coast with Arash Madani for Brian Golly, Smart Investing Solutions. Be smart with your money. Call Brian, 546-2533. It's the Sports Cage. We're streaming through our YouTube channel at sportscage.com. First pitch of Game 5 goes at 6 o'clock in Los Angeles. Should be a good one. Western Hockey League tonight right here on 620 CKRM. The Pats are home to the Brandon Wheat Kings. Saskatoon continues their swing in the States in Spokane. Prairie Junior Hockey Pilot Buttes in Saskatoon to take on the Wesleys. AAA Notre Dame's in Moose Jaw. Estevans in Yorkton. Only one National Hockey League game. The Toronto Maple Leafs play Columbus at 5:30. Sports Ticker is for bundle and save with Reliance. Rent a new water heater and softener together. Get $400 in cash back. Call on Reliance Heath today. Dante DeCaria from the Regina Pats joining us. It is a Pats game day. Dante, what's special going on tonight at the stadium? I hear you might be playing the Blue Jay game a little bit.
Wow. I mean, I guess you heard that through the grapevine. But, yeah, the Blue Jays game will be playing inside the Brandt Center. Still working out, some kinks with that kind of stuff. So, hopefully everything goes as planned. Some technical things behind that as well. Other than that, it's our Halloween-themed game, so it's going to be a Halloween night, and it's another giveaway. So first 500 fans into the Brandt Center will get one of those very cool patches and another cool Regina Pats alumnus. So, yeah, get to the Brandt Center early. First 500 fans get one of those patches, and should be a great night as the Pats take on the Brandon Wheat Kings.
The Pats have been on a little bit of a roll here in their last 4 games.
That's right, Barney. Winners of 3 of their last 4. They're coming off probably one of the biggest comeback wins that I've been a part of in the last 2 or 3 years, because the team has gone through some ups and downs and has gone through some struggles, but to beat the number 1 ranked team in the WHL, or especially in the Eastern Conference, and come back with 2 goals in the third and win in overtime has to give you a little bit of confidence taking on a Brandon team that has got off to a pretty slow start this season. Regina and Brandon are tied in the Eastern Conference standings with 9 points apiece, and it's not just tonight. Regina is going to play Brandon in Brandon on Saturday, and then Friday in Moose Jaw. So lots of points available this week.
You can get tickets online through the Regina Pats website or Ticketmaster, or show up at the arena tonight and take it in. The patches, giving away patches again today. And we'll give away 2 tickets to the game right now. How about that? 936-6262. You got to call in. Colson's standing by. We got 2 tickets to the Pats game tonight just for calling in. First one in, 936-6262. It is a Sports Cage, streaming through our YouTube channel at sportscage.com and on the home of the Regina Pats, 620 CKRM. Welcome back, Hour 2. Eric Francis going to be coming up, our NHL insider here in a bit. Jock Wilson from the Calgary Stampeders broadcast team. We'll talk to him. Sprinkle of the day, some clutch performer action. We got those tickets, West Final tickets to give away. We're asking people, just with the Shohei Ohtani thing that everyone's watching as the Blue Jays are now playing. And I get the hardcore baseball fans, and this has been going on for a while, but just athletes that we've seen in our time, your time, if you're younger, doesn't matter, that are just like, I don't know if we're ever going to see that again. Like freaks of nature. The one I threw out was Usain Bolt, Michael Phelps. And there's been some really good ones. One that we got here, Lee Corso at FSU, Garrett and Regina. I don't know enough about that, but we're throwing it in there. You're in to win the tickets. The weightlifting guys got now a couple of people jumping on that, and I love those videos. Brendan said, how about Gordie Howe or Jaromir Jagr playing pro hockey in their 50s? Not bad. Entered to win. Doesn't matter. Boys, what about the outstanding DN that dominated both the CFL and NFL? None other than Cameron Wake, Sid from Lumsden area. Good one, Sid. He was unbelievable. When I think CFL and absolutely dominating the league, who I think of right away? Doug Flutie. That's me. Doug Flutie. Tracy Ham was good too. I was a big Tracy Ham fan, actually. I think I mentioned that here before. James is forgotten today in CFL All-Star selection. Our own AJ Allen, 6-tackle. Yeah. Riders, if you missed it. 10 divisional all CFL honorees. We're going to hear more from the Riders on that coming up in a bit. Keep the text messages coming if you want to be entered to win West Final tickets. 936-6262, Prairieland Rentals. Anything you need on the rental side coming up here fall and winter, and Husqvarna dealer when the snow throwers are needed. 600 Albert Street. Let us know if there's any... Tim Wakefield. Someone sent in Tim Wakefield. That was a little bit of a weird thing. I always couldn't figure out how he was getting it done. I'm like, why don't they just smash that thing onto Boylston Street in Boston? And a lot of people did. Michael Jordan's been a few. We've had Gretzky's. Somebody mentioned about, I played fastball. We used to have guys pitch 4 games in one day. I'm a fastball guy. I remember those tournaments. I remember watching Gene McWillie and Don Bates and Robbie Scheller, Chuck Hard, 2 games a day. Gordie Howe in Saskatoon. Yeah, fastball is a different breed. Warren Moon, CFL. Yeah, he tore it up. That was kind of before my time. You're all entered to win tickets. All good. Val Val, you're entered to win. Good one. Okay, let's get it going here. Can't keep this man waiting. Extremely busy. He's on the road with the Flames. Eric Francis, here we go.
Now for Inside the NHL with Eric Francis on the SportsCage. Inside the NHL is brought to you by Sports Select. Getting in on more of the sports action you want is as easy as playing at sportsselect.com. Simply make your picks online, generate your QR code, and lock in your bet at your local Lotto Spot retailer.
All right, we heard your Wi-Fi might be a little sketchy, so we're gonna try this. Can you nod? Or are you frozen already? You look. I guess not. Can you hear me, Eric? Can you hear me?
Frozen already?
Yeah. See, we got a Wi-Fi issue. You want to call him? We're just gonna call you on the phone, Eric. Okay. Yeah. I really just wanted to see what you were wearing. We're gonna do that quickly while Colson dials him up. Oh, Greg. I think are you from Regina, Greg? There's lots of Gregs that text in. Jesse Owens, way back, but nonetheless very impressive at the time. Before my time, but I know the name. Yeah, what he did, Jesse Owens. I think when it comes to track and field, though, are we all in favor of like Usain Bolt? It's hard to say that's never going to be beaten in what he did, and 8 Olympic medals, world records still in the 100, 200, 4x1. That'd be top of my list. Then I think Tiger Woods, although he doesn't hold records. Is he there? Can you hear me, Eric?
Got you, bro.
Okay.
Sorry about
I'm
that.
asking a question to people today, and with Shohei Ohtani and what's going on there, and a guy that can just hit the ball 1,000 miles and pitch 1,000 miles an hour and all that. What's the athlete that comes to mind when you think, freak of nature? Like, I don't know if I'm ever going to see this again. Could be a team sport. Could be just a guy out on his own. Who comes to mind?
You know, I used to argue with people that, you know, the greatest athlete of our time, the most dominant athlete of our time, the guy who I probably admire the most, was Lance Armstrong. And boy, was my argument built on a lie. What a fraud, right? No, but you know what I mean? The way he dominated, and I used to, that was my guy. And I remember going to see him speak in Calgary one time, writing a column on him, talking about he's the greatest athlete of all time, like the way he's dominated. Anyway, in time, we realized sometimes people aren't, or what they've accomplished wasn't really even real. Barry Bonds comes to mind with that one as well too. But and I know where you're going with all this, but to me, Ohtani has been he's on top of my list, has been for a while, in terms of a guy who's the most dominant athlete of my time. And now, I guess there's two different questions too. Like you said, I guess the way you word it, who's the most dominant, who's the greatest, who's the, I guess it kind of depends how you word it. But I don't think it matters how you word it. He's the greatest of all time in terms of athletes to me.
And so I think so the two that came out when I started thinking about this last night, for me, the big ones were Usain Bolt and Michael Phelps. And not that you've seen me, we've drank together. I'm not much of a swimmer. And Usain, like those two guys, like I just don't know. 28 medals for Phelps, like Summer McIntosh is on her way. But then the other guy, Eric, and he didn't set the records. But you and me being massive golfers, is that stretch of what Tiger Woods was doing, it was like, why is everyone else even showing up?
Oh, without question, right? I mean, but he still didn't break Jack Nicklaus's record. Now, we could sit here and talk about, well, Jack didn't have much competition. You could argue maybe Tiger didn't have that much competition. But the way he did it, it was spectacular. And you could probably put him in that category of the greatest run of all time in terms of that window where he was dominating. I remember covering, those were the years when I was covering majors. I covered, I think, 12 majors. And I'll never forget going to the 2000 Open at St. Andrews. And you go into Ladbrokes. The Brits were so far ahead of all of us in terms of betting. Yeah. And you'd go into these little betting shops, and it was a straight-up 1-to-1 proposition. Tiger Woods or the field. Isn't that amazing? Like, and I'm sitting there. I remember pulling out 200 pounds and saying, "I think I'm putting it on Tiger." But it seems like the dumbest bet I've ever made. But I got to make a bet on it. Like, you can't not bet. I mean, I don't say that now, but back then I'm like, God, when am I ever going to walk into a betting shop again? Who knew? But 1-to-1. A field of 156 golfers or one guy. And you're a good golfer. You play a lot. Every single swing, you are one swing away from disaster in that game. Always. Every swing.
Yeah.
And he not never. I mean, he didn't win every tournament, but God, he won a ton. So yeah, he's definitely in that conversation for two. And look, Gretzky, is the greatest hockey player of all time, or he's certainly in that conversation. But I'm not putting him as the greatest athlete of all time. Like, I'm not sure he's quite in that discussion.
Yeah, like, I don't even know how I want to. Like, I'm really grappling how I'm wording this. It's more like the eyeball freak of nature thing that you're watching it on TV or watching it live, and it's like, well, how is this happening? Like, is this because the Ohtani thing is right there for me? It's like, okay, hold on, this guy just hit how many out of the yard, and then now he's pitching, and he's got 7 different pitches, and then they're staying away from him when he's at, like, I'm just like, yeah, this is my boy is kind of just like right into it. But the other thing, Eric, too. The last thing maybe on this, but we got lots of time. You're not busy. Is what I think we're going to see this again, because now how kids train, and around the globe there are some freak of natures just genetically, and who knows what they got going on in Japan, where kids want to be the next Shohei Ohtani that can hit and pitch. I don't think it's crazy to say we're going to see this again.
It's an interesting point. Look, I was in Japan in the summer, and he's on every second billboard in the entire country. Obviously, he's as big a name as that country's ever produced in the sporting landscape. And I did a bunch of research because it was so hard. He used to play for a team called the Nippon Ham Fighters, and I needed a jersey from the Nippon Ham Fighters. I got a hat, but I needed a jersey, and I wanted his name on it. Well, because he's not there anymore, they don't have the rights. So they don't sell them anywhere. So I had to go online to find one. But when I was doing that, I was doing research on this guy. Like, how did he come to be? And it really is an interesting story where a guy with the Nippon Ham Fighters decided to take a chance and said, I will let you pitch and hit. All the other teams that were interested in signing him when he was younger are like, no, you got to pick one or the other. And baseball is filled with decades and decades and decades of tradition where you think about every guy in the major. I guarantee almost every guy in the major was a dominant pitcher when he was 12.
Yeah.
And he was a great hitter.
Yeah.
But at some point you have to pick one or the other. And he just kind of said, why? Why do I have to?
Yeah.
And that was the GM at the Nippon team. He was the only guy who said, yeah, why? I'll give you a chance to try both. Now, if it didn't work out, I'm sure the owner would, or the GM would have quickly said, this ain't working out. You got to pick one or the other. But he was the guy chiefly responsible for letting him try both. And even when he came to North America as a highly touted Japanese player, there were still lots of questions as to whether or not, wow, you're in the bigs. You probably can't do both, so you got to pick one or the other. And I'm so happy for sports history that he said, no, I think I could do both at the highest level. They gave him a chance to do it in Anaheim, and he did it. So it's a great story. When he was playing early in the playoffs this year, my mother was visiting, and I'm constantly explaining stories to my mother about, the sports world. She doesn't follow it that closely. I said, this guy right here on TV, right now on your screen, might be the greatest athlete of all time. And she's like, well, who is he? What's his name? And I told her. And about right on cue as the greatest athlete of my time, he hits a dinger to open the game right in front of my mom, my wife, and I. And I'm like, there you go. That's an example of it. He just kicked off the playoffs. The very first pitch of the playoffs, he took it yard. That's what legends do. And he's the last guy on earth maybe that I would say right now where when I see him show up on my screen, I'm not going anywhere. I'm watching greatness every time I get a chance to, because how many times in your life have you looked at it, Barney, and you're like, man, I wish I would have watched more Gretzky games in his time. I wish I would have watched more Lemieux games in his time because he was that good. And now we have a chance to really relish it. And on the greatest stage in the world, he got on base 9 times in a row the other night. Like, it's just so, we're so lucky to watch this.
It's amazing. It's like a guy having 2 jobs and being good at them both. Like, that's just whack. Yeah. It's a whack.
So good.
What's going on with the Calgary Flames? You're traveling with them right now. Things can't be fantastic. Although, didn't pull it out against the Toronto Maple Leafs, but they're not gangbusters as well. How's that road trip starting off? Just the morale. What are you seeing?
Yeah, it's not good. I mean, they've lost 9 of 10 now. Last night against the Leafs was a similar kind of story that we've seen over the last, handful of games, where they're actually playing a lot better, but they're still finding a way to break their own hearts at the end, but with a big defensive gap. And that's what they've been prone to a lot this year. Wolf is playing a whole lot better. He's kind of back to being dominant Dustin Wolf, who gives them a chance to win every night. Like the first 5 or 6 games, he wasn't that guy. Now he is. But they can't seem to put together 60 minutes of defensively sound hockey. So, yeah, goal scoring was always going to be a problem in this city. That was not a shocker. But they can't play defense with any sort of level of consistency now either. So, the mood in Calgary is certainly, management's not about to buy into this theory, but I certainly have already written it. This season is over for the Calgary Flames. And what they are now staring at is what I would consider a significant opportunity. You've got an ownership group that's not interested in not making the playoffs and tearing down and rebuilding from scratch, but you're almost forced to for at least 1 year. So lean into it, embrace it, make a few trades to get rid of some veterans, cash in on a couple more draft picks, go heavy on the Gavin McKenna draft lottery, and maybe you can really affect change. This is a star-driven league, and if you don't have stars, you're left in the dust. And we've seen that in Calgary forever. How many stars have we had come through Calgary? Jerome McGinley, Mika Kiprusoff, and other than that, you got to go back to the 80s and 90s when they were threatening for cups back then. So they can do something about that by finishing near the bottom this year. And I would say 90% of the people in our city are referring to the Flames right now as in first place of the Gavin McKenna sweepstakes. Not last place. They're in first place. They've reversed everything.
A place that you and I have joked about, but I think we should really look at going on a spring golf trip to southern Utah. The Mammoth are absolute wagon town right now, and they sign Logan Cooley to an $80 million contract extension. Why don't we know enough about Logan Cooley? He's an American kid from Pittsburgh. Why aren't we, guys like me in Saskatchewan, talking enough about Logan Cooley?
Yeah, he's a small guy, right? So I think there was a long time where they were like, yeah, he's got unbelievable skill, like a young Johnny Gaudreau, but can he translate, his undersized skill at the big level? And I think he's proven enough already. Well, obviously proven enough to them that he deserves an 8-year run. Look, it's kind of the in vogue thing to do right now. Lock these guys up for 8 years because it's the last time in the CBA that you can lock a guy up for 8 years. And everyone's kind of leaning into the likelihood that this cap is going to start really going nuts. And in 5 years from now, making $10 million a year won't be that big a deal. It'll actually be considered a bargain. Maybe not a bargain, but at least, it's not as, it's not as big a risk as it used to be. And, the kid's sublimely skilled. He's fun to watch. Look, that Utah team has done it, unlike the Flames, they've done it the right way. They've bottomed out. They've got a ton of great young talents. And you look at that lineup with guys like Gunther in there, and like the list of guys on that team that can score goals is growing exponentially every year. And Cooley's just part of it. Like that top 6 right now is really, really formidable. And Logan Cooley's as skilled as anybody on that list. So, I'm not saying I was surprised by the deal, but you're like, wow, the kid's come a long way towards proving that he's not undersized. like it's not debilitating by being undersized.
There were so many years though, because I was kind of a Arizona Coyotes fan. I was a Phoenix Coyote fan. I had 2 stints in Arizona. I loved it. I loved everything about it, and I was like, oh, these guys are going to be really good in a few years. And then they move to Utah, and it's like these guys are still going to be really good. And now they got an owner that wants to play and he wants to win, and he's backwards hat guy. He seems cool. He's with the guys. And I was just looking just now, since you're brought to you by Sports Select, our NHL insider, Eric Francis here, where you can bet on futures. If you go and think craziness, Western Conference, to win the Western Conference, Utah is up to 17 to 1 odd. Like it's... And where they would have started, it would have been a lot lower. So they are a super exciting team to watch. What are you making of, and I think we're going to be talking about this guy a lot, especially before the Olympic team is picked, but he gets his first ever career NHL hat trick the other night. Connor Bedard seems like definitely he's got something to prove, and he's got a kind of I'm going to show you all attitude this year.
Yeah, and rightfully so. I think a lot of people have not written him off, but the way I always put it is he's long been surpassed by Macklin Celebrini as, you know, the next really, you know, awesome superstar in the National Hockey League. Like, and I strongly believe that. I think Macklin Celebrini's ceiling is way higher than Connor Bedard's. And I think he's heard that chatter, and I think he's heard a lot of people say, you know what, first 2 years he didn't really do it. Maybe there was a lot of hype, and he's not that good. And, you know, hopefully that fuels him, and maybe that's part of why he's starting to bounce back. But, look, it's a failure on his part to kind of make that breakthrough and really be the superstar that people thought. But I think a lot of people look at it and say it's a bigger failure by the organization to not surround him with enough talent to have that opportunity. I mean, I don't care how good you are, unless you've got some guys who can pass it or finish it around you, you can't go out there and put 90 points up on the board. So I still think they're 2 players short of having him on a good line. But that's an indictment on Chicago, not him. But so yeah, it is interesting. Hey, listen, I have a question for you, and maybe it's a bit of a homework assignment because Sports Select is our great sponsor. I'm never quite sure when you bet on, say, Utah to win the West. Are you betting on them to finish first in the standings in the regular season?
No.
Or is that a wager on them to be the last team standing at the end of the Western Conference Final?
Last team standing.
It's always that way?
Mm-hmm. Because then if you want, so what you can bet on at the end of the regular season is Atlantic Division winner, Central Division winner, Metro, Pacific. Like they have all that too on their futures. It's actually quite crazy when you go through the futures on Sports Select. Like we're talking hockey leagues from overseas. Eric, they have the champion of the Swedish Hockey League that you can bet on right now, where looks like it's going to be a tough year for Leksands in the Swedish league. They are.
This is Skellefteå's year for sure.
You're on the road. I take it you're still not in Toronto, but you were there with the whole Jason. What was that like?
I flew out of Toronto this morning. You know where I'm sitting right now? Jason York. You remember that name? He played 700 games in the National Hockey League. He does our color on our broadcast now.
The Smiths Falls Bears of the CJHL in 1986-87.
Look at you, kid. Anyway, I'm sitting in his office, and man, there's a ton of great memorabilia here. When you play for I think he played for 7 different teams, and some real good ones too, like some good cities.
Detroit, Anaheim, Ottawa, Anaheim again. Yeah. He went back to Anaheim. Nashville. Must have loved the Nashville and Boston.
Boston, yeah, he was in some good spots. Anyway, I'm here now, but yeah, going back to Toronto, he's having a little party tonight so we can watch the World Series. And I got to tell you a funny story. Kelly Rudy just walked in, and he's wearing a goalie mask. I guess he thinks it's funny, like a Halloween sort of thing. Yeah. But Yorkie's granddaughter is here, and she's about maybe two years old. And she didn't think it was that funny. It scared the hell out of her. So, Kelly Rudy making friends with the young kids right now. I think she's still cowering in the corner, this poor little girl, scarred for life by a goalie mask. Anyway, going back to Toronto, what a cool vibe. I felt very lucky to be. Look, we landed there, when they were in LA, the series had shifted to LA, so I missed being here. I missed being in Toronto for the first 2 games, but even being there for games 3 and 4 was a real rush. I felt really privileged. After the game last night, the Leafs game, they encouraged all 18,000 people to stick around. Of course they did, because the concession stands were still open. Stick around, watch the World Series here on our screen, our big screen, and thousands of people did. I watched it too while I was writing my column, and it was a really kind of cool experience. Vladdy Guerrero hit his home run while we were in there, and people went absolutely nuts. It was cool. And then as I walked home in the last couple innings, I was watching it on my phone, and I passed by City Hall, Nathan Phillips Square they call it, and they had an outdoor viewing party where there were 10,000 people there, and that was pretty cool too. So the whole city, everyone's wearing a cap, a jersey. Look, and I dare say it, I don't know if we want to get into this discussion or debate, I'm sure you've already had it, but there's nothing that can unite a nation sporting-wise like the Blue Jays. And maybe people didn't believe that because it's been 32 years since they did it, but people have to be seeing now and understanding and agreeing now that this far surpasses the national pride that, say, the Raptors generated. Are you with me on that?
Oh, 1,000%. I would go anything Olympic or maybe even a World Cup of soccer or something like that would be. But yeah, I think you're onto something. I think you're correct. Nothing like the Raptors. Yeah, no, for sure.
And like the Olympics, sure, okay. Like the Olympic hockey team, we're all, that's always captured the imagination of the nation and forever will. But it's only the hockey teams to me. You talk about Olympics, we've had some phenomenal Olympians go and win gold medals. Simon Whitfield, I don't know, just pull any name out of the hat. But these are one-shot deals.
Elizabeth Manley?
That wouldn't have come to mind, but sure, I thought she finished silver.
That was silver,
anyway.
Sorry.
Yeah, it was silver.
How about Ross Rebagliati or whatever him?
Well, that captured the nation because no one could figure out how you could win a gold medal stone. That was pretty awesome. That was wicked. But this year, Phil Wizard, the breakdancer, I'm an old breakdancer from way back with the Rockomatic crew, and and Phil Wizard captured my imagination. I was looking forward to that competition right at the end of the Olympics this year. But not everybody has the same events circled on their calendar. And when a Simon Whitfield wins or a Phil Wizard, anyone who tuned in, it's the most amazing thing. Mm-hmm. But this is something that's been building over the last several months. Yeah. And it's really cool to be a part of. I haven't paid attention to the Jays for years. Every year out of Toronto, they always say, this is their year, and I'm so sick of Toronto fans being so delusional. But about 3 months ago when they won 8 or 9 in a row, I'm like, I want to start seeing what this team's about because maybe they could do something special. I certainly didn't think it would be this. But, man, it's fun to be a part of, isn't it?
Yeah. No, it is. All right. Go fire up a chainsaw. And since you're scaring kids anyway at this party you're at.
Exactly.
Actually, you know what? Tell Kelly Rudy Barney from Sasky from the Monday Nooner podcast said hi. I'm curious if you ever drank that Last Mountain Distillery dill pickle vodka we sent him. He was really intrigued by that. So, yeah, great guy.
I'll ask him about that. And actually, Brendan Parker says to say hi. He's our host for the Flames broadcast. I told him I was on with you. Oh, actually, he just saw SportsCage, and he goes, "Are you on with Barney?"
Yeah,
he was pretty pumped up. Yeah. I got to tell you, he's a big fan. Maybe one day you should get him on the show.
Yeah, no, I think that should happen. All right, have a rum and coke. I'm sure there'll be a few tonight, and we'll catch up with you on Friday.
I'm way ahead of you, buddy.
Right on. See you, bud.
Go Jays.
Yeah. Our NHL insider, Eric Francis. It's brought to you by Sports Select. Simply make your picks online now, generate your QR code, and lock in your bet at your local Lotto Spot retailer. Every bet is 100% legal. Must be 18 plus to play. We're going to get into the sprinkle of the day right away for Sports Select, but we got to go to break. I see all the text messages coming in as well. We'll get to them. It's a Sports Cage. We're streaming through our YouTube channel at sportscage.com. All right. Let's have let's keep it local here. Junior girls volleyball last night, Riffle over Leboldus 2-0. Junior girls volleyball, and Campbell defeated Luther 2-0 on the boys' side. The 2-0 ones were Miller over Luther. Leboldus defeated Riffle. Campbell defeated Knoll 2-0. Junior girls, junior boys volleyball here in Regina. We had the high school football report, Friday Night Lights, coming up tomorrow. We're going to go through the provincial quarterfinals or semifinals that are going on, the city finals here in Regina. We're all over it there. And then the other clutch performer for me, Vladimir Guerrero last night off Shohei Ohtani. Something special. And the Jays go on to win. Colson, you got an unclutch, did you say?
Yeah, I'm just getting it ready here. So, you know how a lot of people have been upset with the CFL, officiating, replay center, etc.
Sure.
Right?
Yep.
If you're watching the stream, and I'll see what the audio is too on this. In the NBA last night, Giannis took a few extra steps.
Oh,
one, two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Wow. I saw that on my feeds this morning, but I remember I didn't look at it. That, like, even after that one dribble, there's almost 6.5, 5.5. Oh, wow.
Yeah, because
so there's the dribble. It's a carry, if I remember correctly.
1, 2, 3, 4, kind of little stutter step. 5.
I can't believe they let this go.
Yeah, like,
that's hard to believe. Yeah, and rightly so to complain of that. So good find, good one. That's a little unclutch. And a clutch for Nick's Service in Emerald Park, your local Massey Ferguson Challenger, Rogator, Gleaner, and Fent dealer. Call 781-1077. We talked to Eric Francis for Sports Select just a little bit ago. But I want to talk, let's talk Sprinkle of the Day right now. And it is for Sports Select. Lotto Spot retailer, get a QR code, scan it, boom, go in there, and you got your ticket. Or you can fill it out the old ways. You get money in hand with Sports Select, and you must be 18 years plus to play responsibly. Okay, so tonight's Blue Jay Dodger game, you see it there if you're watching the stream. The Jays, so they got to win by 2. Or you can take the tie, they win by 1, is paying $330. The win by 2 is up to $310. They're not giving Trey Savage much respect at all. If you want to go to the point spread and take the Jays with a point, you're still getting 2.03 odds. So we'll call it 2. And the over-under is 8. So, I don't know. I've been hitting the Jays. And yes, it's only worked out twice in the series, rightly so, but I got to go again. And then a prop. What's one that I like? Kirk versus Edmonton on RBIs. You can play this on Sports Select as well. Kirk's paying $285. Not bad. Again, you simply make your picks, generate QR code, lock in your bet at your local Lotto Spot retailer, or you can go in and fill it out, look it up on the phone, look it on the big fancy boards that they have now. It must be 18 years or older to play responsibly. Sports Select, the original. All bets are legal. You get cash in hand. We'll come back. We'll talk some CFL with Jock Wilson from QR77 and the Calgary Stampeder broadcast team. Next, it is the Sports Cage, streaming through our YouTube channel at sportscage.com. If you missed it, the Riders lead the West Division with 10 divisional all CFL honorees. First time since 1976 that's happened. Keyshawn Johnson, wide receiver, Dante Myers, Logan Ferlin, Jacob Brammer, Jamarcus Hardrick, Micah Johnson, Jameer Thurman, CJ Rivas, Roland Milligan, and of course, Tavon Campbell. So the semifinals this weekend, Winnipeg-Montreal is the early one. Obviously, it looks like Montreal right now is a 5.5-point favorite there. And then Calgary and BC. This one's intriguing for me. Really, really looking forward to watching this one. -4.5 right now for the BC Lions in the West semifinal, which we will be covering here on 620 CKRM. From the Stampeders play-by-play and broadcast team, which we're going to be covering here on 620 CKRM, the West semifinal. Jock Wilson joining us from Calgary again on the Western Pizza guest hotline. Jock, I'm looking at the line here, and -4.5 Lions. That's probably where I thought it was going to be, but Coach Dickinson kind of is liking the underdog role here.
Hey, listen, the BC Lions are the hottest team in the Canadian Football League heading into the playoffs. They're at home. Of course, they're going to be the favorite. The Calgary Stampeders lost twice to the BC Lions this season, and the game in Calgary wasn't even close. Stampeders got their ass kicked. There's no other way to talk about it. So, should the Calgary Stampeders be an underdog? Of course they should. I love how TSN is already building this up. Revenge or redemption? Vernon Adams returns to Vancouver. Obviously, that is the storyline, Barney. And, VA... he went to Vancouver earlier this season, played okay, didn't play great. The Stampeders were better in the second half. I do think it's an interesting storyline. Nathan Rourke, we know, is the best player in the Canadian Football League right now. He is going to be the most outstanding player. And I think Vernon has a little bit of a chip on his shoulder, and he wants to prove something. But the question is, can he or will he? Time will tell.
Is this game really going to come down to if Dedrick Mills can get going?
Listen, this is the biggest storyline for the Stampeders heading into this game is their offensive line. Their offensive line is a big question mark because they don't have a right tackle. Josh Coker is out with a knee injury. Preston Nickel is out with an ankle injury. I have no idea who is going to be the right tackle. The Calgary Stampeders signed an offensive lineman yesterday, Hunter Stewart, who played, BC, Edmonton, and Ottawa. He was released by the Lions in mid-August. I don't think he's going to be on the roster, but stranger things have happened, and this is what happened. If you watch the Calgary Stampeders in Edmonton last weekend, Dedrick Mills was really, really solid in the first half, but in the second quarter, Preston Nichols go down with an injury, and all of a sudden the running game wasn't as efficient. They didn't win the battles along the line, and that was a huge issue. So to answer your question, yes, Dedrick Mills is going to have to go off. Dedrick Mills is going to have to be, the Calgary Stampeders' best offensive player. He's going to have to rush for over 100 yards. But there are other storylines as well because, the Stampeder defense, has to be the turnover demons that they have been. The Stampeders, when they win the turnover battle, they're 11-0 this season, and that's something that they'll be looking to do this weekend.
Yeah, so let's talk about that because I think that's the other big thing is the Calgary defense on Nathan Rourke, and we talked about how hot they are and how much stock everyone's buying in BC. What does that Calgary defense have to do, or what wrinkle do they have to throw that maybe BC hasn't seen a lot of?
Remember the first half of the season when there was the big debate, who's got the best defense in the Canadian Football League, the Saskatchewan Roughriders or the Calgary Stampeders? And a lot of people were saying, hey, it was the Calgary Stampeders. And then the Stampeders forgot how to tackle. The Calgary Stampeders went on their 4-game losing streak, and they got lit up, time after time. The Stampeder defense has been better in their final 3 games. They have been causing the turnovers. They have been getting more pressure on the quarterback. And it does boil down, to a guy that was named an All-Star earlier today. And that, of course, is Clarence Hicks. He is the Stampeders nominee for the Most Outstanding Defensive Player award as well. He's not big, but he is quick. He is fast. He gets into the quarterback face. I think he is going to be a really, really key player for this team because he's got to put some pressure, obviously, on Nathan Rourke. The other rush end, that's going to be interesting because Lorenzo Malden was acquired by the Ottawa Redblacks. Hasn't played very much because he's been injured, but he's healthy. He could be on the roster this weekend. Sean Peterson is that other rush end with Flo Arimolade out. So, again, just a little bit of a wrinkle. The interior of the defensive line is good. Jalen Hutchins is one of the biggest studs in the Canadian Football League. And, of course, alongside a former rider, Miles Brown, I think they're good there. But the key is you got to corral Nathan Rourke because he can beat you with his feet, and he can certainly beat you with his arm. And the other, I guess, wild card for the Stampeders is Sheldon Arnold. The Calgary Stampeders started the season with 2 rookie halfbacks, Sheldon Arnold and Jaden Grant. They were the story for this team in the first half. Sheldon Arnold broke his hand, had some pins put in it, still needs the surgeon's okay to actually take contact and maybe return. But, he's been taking some light practices. There's a chance that he could return this weekend. That could give the Stampeder defense a little bit of a boost, too.
Jock Wilson is joining us here from Calgary and QR77 and part of the Stampeders broadcast team. Now, maybe who's a player that we're not talking about offensively for Calgary that could go off? Like Damian Alford started the year. I know we were talking about him a lot here. Is there a player maybe on that offensive side that's kind of flying under the radar?
I would say Dominic Rhymes has to have a really, really big game. He has been targeted a lot, by Vernon Adams, and he has to be a go-to guy. The other guy that has gone under the radar because he wasn't supposed to be part of the receiving corps, but he got into the offense when Reggie Begelton went down in week 2, and is done for the season, and that is Eric Brooks. I think all the receivers are going to have to play really, really well. Vernon Adams is going to have to go deep. He hasn't thrown any interceptions in the last few games. He has been managing the game very well, but he is going to have to stretch the BC defense. So to answer your question, I look at 3 receivers that really need to step up. Jalen Philpott, who didn't play last week because of an injury, but he is going to go. Had a little bit of a knee problem last week. He could have played last week if they needed him to. They didn't need him to. So Jalen Philpott, Eric Brooks, Dominic Rhymes, we'll see, because I think you got to give an edge to the BC receivers. They're just studs, and they're dominant. Yeah,
Brooks had 136 last week. So that was solid. Okay, before I let you go, can you handicap? Can you give me what your take is on the East? Davis Alexander, a lot of people loving what he's doing. Again, his first ever playoff start. Winnipeg's been a little bit odd this year, but they could still be Winnipeg, and that defense firing by committee. What do you think happens in the East?
Winnipeg sucks. They're done. The run is over. So, Rider fans will like to hear that. That's fine. Winnipeg has no chance, in my opinion, against the Montreal Alouettes. Montreal is the best team in the East. If you ask me to seed it right now, I think Montreal is a better team than the Hamilton Tiger Cats. And Davis Alexander speaks for itself. They let Cody Fajardo go, or at least traded him away, because they knew Davis Alexander was the next thing in Montreal. And 11-0 as a starter, he is a stud. And I do think that defense is sometimes underrated as well. So I don't think Montreal is going to have any issues with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. I think they're a 5.5-point favorite. Yeah. And if you ask me heading into the playoffs, and this may not play well for Rider fans, but I would say BC and Montreal are your 2 favorites probably to go to the Grey Cup game. Although I will say this about Saskatchewan. Their first half, last week they looked really, really good with the starters in there. And the storyline in Calgary, we thought, oh, God, is Jake Mayer going to let us down again? And sure enough, Jake let us down again because he couldn't win that game for us. So anyway, I give Jake a little bit of a shot there. But hey, the Riders should be happy with their team, especially the way they played in the first half, even though they head into the playoffs on a 2-game losing streak.
Hey, we could be talking again next week about the Stamps coming in here and that record
The one kryptonite Trevor Harris has is the Calgary Stampeders. So look out. Calgary can't beat Nathan Rourke. The Saskatchewan Roughriders can't. At least Trevor Harris can't seem to beat the Calgary Stampeders. So and Nathan Rourke can't beat Winnipeg. So I think that's really kind of crazy.
Okay, quickly before I let you go, we've been talking about this on the show all day, just with what we're seeing, and you've covered sports for a long time. You've been around with Shohei Ohtani and just being able to do what he can do as an athlete. When you think, Jock, an athlete that comes to mind that you saw with your eyeballs, whether live or on TV, that you just thought, I don't think what this guy's doing is ever going to be replicated again. Who comes to mind?
Boy, that is $1 million question, and you're right. He is such a unique animal. You remember the Men in Black movies? Like, hey, dude's an alien, and I don't think he's human. So, Travis Hunter playing both sides in college football and in the NFL, you don't see that happen very often. Obviously, Bo Jackson comes to mind. Michael Jordan comes to mind off the top of my head. Yeah. All unique players that can do it all, and those would be right up there. But I think Shohei is in the league of his own. Although You know, who won the battle last night?
Yeah.
You know, Vladdy got Shohei's number last night, so I think for Blue Jay fans that was okay.
Okay, always a pleasure. Looking forward to the weekend. It's going to be really intriguing. Have a good rest of the week, and good luck to your Stamps. Hopefully we can catch up next week.
Hey, thanks for picking up our broadcast. Mark Steven and Greg Peterson, the longest-serving play-by-play team in the Canadian Football League. They're like a married couple. They've been together for over 30 years, so there you go.
And we're going to have the West semifinal, like Jock said, here on 620 CKRM. Sunday kickoff is 3:30. We'll have a pregame show as well. So we got you covered if you are as intrigued as I am. Stampeders and BC Lions in the West semifinal. Still more to come. It is a Sports Cage on the home of the CFL in Saskatchewan, 620 CKRM. Riders leading the West Division with 10 divisional all-CFL honorees. You can find them all at sportscage.com. First pitch, Game 5, World Series, 6 p.m., Jays and Dodgers. Western Hockey League tonight in town, 7 p.m., Regina Pats hosting Brandon Wheat Kings. You can hear that right here on CKRM, starting with the pregame show at 6:30. The Blades are in Spokane. Prairie Junior Hockey League, Pilot Buttes up in Saskatoon. AAA, Notre Dame's in Moose Jaw, Estevans at Yorkton, and one game in the National Hockey League. Toronto Maple Leafs are in Columbus. SportsCage.com poll today. What do you think the Saskatchewan Roughriders, who do you think the Saskatchewan Roughriders want to play in the West Final? You can vote at SportsCage.com. It's for Extreme Hockey and Sport, home of the price match guarantee, and get a couple days to get in on $1,000 back on your purchase from Extreme Hockey and Sport or Umbrella Marketing. Okay, the text messages. Thank you so much, everybody. We're going to get to some of these here. We're just asking, freak athletes, because of this Shohei Ohtani that you remember from your time. I said Usain Bolt, Michael Phelps, even though I'm not really big in sprinting and swimming. What those guys did was crazy. What this guy's doing is crazy. I thought Tiger Woods, too. Then he ran into injuries as well. Lots of Bo Jackson coming in. Ed said Bo Jackson. I think it was Tim, Phil, Jeff Stoughton from Dawn when it comes to curling, and Jim Abbott, the one-handed pitcher. Brennan sent that one in. Bob said Ruben Mays. Where's the other one? There's no name on this one, but it's an activity, I guess. Cirque du Soleil. What they do in a Cirque du Soleil show. I agree.
That's insane.
No name. Yeah. The water one in Vegas when they're jumping into the pool from who knows where. No splash. Yeah. 936-6262. Chance to win West Final tickets for every text message today. Don't forget the Rough Riders Foundation 50-50 until Thursday at 5 p.m. You got a chance in the early bird prize to go to Costa Rica. 2 flights from Saskatchewan to Costa Rica. 7 nights all-inclusive, 5-star Planet Hollywood Resort. This sounds really good. Round-trip transfers, or you can take $9,000 cash. If you win that, let's talk. I might buy it off you. I've never been to Costa Rica. I want to go. And it's the 5-star Planet Hollywood. Unreal. Okay, let's get her going. Hour 3, we are going to talk to TSN, play-by-play, CFL, and also from Edmonton Sports Talk, Dustin Nielson. It's a Sports Cage on 620 CKRM. Final hour of this show on Wednesday for RMP. Like he said, early tire swap. It's raining in downtown Regina right now. Snow is in the forecast. You got till October 31st if you want to save some money at RMP. And then don't forget the RMP winter tire offer is on until December 31st. Receive up to $120 in instant rebates. Winter tires are Jimmy Key, my friend. Colson's with me. We're getting through this Wednesday, having a lot of fun. Thanks for all the text messages. Prairieland Rentals text line 936-6262. We're asking people, what's the freak athlete? What's the kind of the athlete that you saw do something and you were like, wow, I don't know if I'll ever see that again, or that just kind of knocked your socks off. Lots of Bo Jackson coming in now. A couple Ruben Mays. Devin Lorette, arm wrestling, says Greg Sekundiak. Devin, I don't know much about arm wrestling, not going to lie, besides Over the Top. Rock Sly Stallone, what was his name? Hawk Trucking. Boom. And he turned the hat around, Coulson, and then that was his trigger. You should watch Over the Top this weekend with your wife. It's a great film. Won a lot of awards.
Got a football broadcast to run, but sure.
Okay. Deion Sanders, lots of people. Anyone that's texting in, or if you're on the YouTube chat as well, you're entered to win 2 tickets to the West Final. Colson's got a lot of work to do to get on the wheel of winning, so get in on them now. Regina Pats are playing tonight at home against Brandon. 7 p.m. puck drop. Probably able to watch a little of the baseball game there as well, from what I understand. So that's good news. Still to come in this hour, we are going to talk junior football, the junior football report. We're going to hear again from Arash Madani on the baseball game, talk some baseball. And I know we had a message too about the SJHL report. That is coming tomorrow, along with the high school football report. SJHL report with Benny. We'll try and track him down tomorrow. It's always for Chad Reach, Senior Wealth Advisor for GP Financial and a Visa Wealth. If you got an employer plan, might not be the best for you. Might need a second opinion. Chad and his team can help out. gpfinancial.com. So SJHL report coming up tomorrow. But let's talk some more CFL. No, what did you want me to do, Colson? Yeah, the problem about not eating properly, and you talk about Western Pizza on the show all the time when it gets to about 5 o'clock. Watch the ball game tonight. Pick up a wheel. Maybe some of the Greek favorites you love from your local Western Pizza. Let's go out on the Western Pizza guest hotline. All right, there he is, Dustin Nielson. Our friend is back on the show. He's at Nielson TSN 1260, Edmonton Sports Talk. You can find on YouTube streaming and 95.7 Cruise in Edmonton. How's the radio thing been going?
It's FM radio life, man. What can I say? It's a big deal. No, it's cool. I think it's going really well. Like, we've got a bunch of people texting in saying that they flipped over from other stations to listen to ours. Yeah. So you know how that always feels. Like, that feels good. So yeah. I'm bumping into a bunch of people, like at the airport, actually, in Regina. I was leaving this last weekend. Some guy standing next to me, we're waiting for our bags of security. And he looks at me, and I was like, I knew right away. I was like, this guy listens to the show for sure. And he's like, hey, I just got to tell you, I'm a huge fan. I love that it's on the radio again. I was just like, all right, good. So, yeah, it's been really good.
Do you ever want to, like, kind of just maybe go do a remote at a, car audio shop or play some Steppenwolf for Harlequin or anything?
Yeah, I want to go to like a spa place, like hot tubs. I feel like they're always doing hot tub sales. I you know what we will do, because I have like that whole wide orbit set up on one of my computers while I'm doing the show, so I can see what the next song is coming up on Cruise. So, coming up just after 9 o'clock, sending back to classic rock on Cruise FM. I can't remember what it was today, but yeah, it's kind of fun.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so I've been having some fun throughout the show today, and I'm going to dump this on you. It's super organic because you don't know this question's coming. But with what Shohei Ohtani is doing in baseball, I'm not a big baseball fan. Obviously, been right into it here since the Jays, and it's just riveting, I guess. But what that Ohtani guy is, and I'm just like, well, this has really never been done. I think we'll see it again. I think it's just going to happen. But when you think of athletes, Dusty, that you and I are in the same demo, that you've seen over our time, any sport, any athlete, like one that you think, man, that's going to be hard to duplicate. What comes to mind?
There's nothing like in team sports, individual sport, Usain Bolt or individual, Michael, those guys.
Yes,
it's different. But in a team sport, I guess really the only comparison, it was slightly before my day, but like a guy like Bo Jackson who could play 2 sports and be pretty darn good at it. But as far as one athlete in one sport, we've never seen anything like him. I agree with you. I said it, I asked somebody on our show last week, do you think 20 years from now, are there 10 guys like Ohtani in the league? And just with the natural, continued development of athletes, I don't think it's crazy. But this guy is like Trey Savage and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. as the same guy. It just doesn't make any sense. That game 2 games ago, when he got on base 9 times was insane. Mm-hmm. The one earlier in the playoffs where he struck out 10 guys and hit 3 home runs.
Yeah.
I mean, this was legendary. It never happened before. Will never happen again. Like when you see stats that goes only 12 players in postseason history have hit 3 home runs in a game, and only 26 have struck out 10, and he did it both in the same game. Like there's nothing. It's like McDavid also being Vasilevsky. It's ridiculous.
And my son, we're not a baseball family, but now we're all watching it. And yet last night he goes, do you know he can throw like 7 different pitches?
Yeah, they said that last night. Yeah, on the broadcast. I'm sitting there, and I was coaching some basketball last night, but I watched the first inning, then we listened to a couple innings on the way to basketball. In the first inning, they're like, no, Ohtani's on the mound, and just remember, he can throw 7 pitches. I didn't even know that there are 7 pitches. I thought there were like 5 pitches. Apparently there's 7, and he can throw them all. Like, it's ridiculous.
There was the one, I don't know if it's a slider or if it's a cutter that he threw yesterday, and I was like, that reminds me of baseball stars on Nintendo. How you could just make the ball come.
You can turn the ball. Like, yeah, exactly. I'm half-ass expecting him to pull out a knuckleball at some point that nobody saw coming. You know, but you know what? I thought that's why yesterday was so massive. Vladdy takes Ohtani deep. Like that is a unicorn in Ohtani, who everybody is watching, and the Blue Jays star player gets the better of him, which I think could end up being the biggest moment in the series, man. That was nuts.
And it was just like greatness nodding greatness, right? As soon as he sees it go, he goes, all right. Yeah, no, it's great.
What are you going to do?
Yeah, let's. I want to quickly talk some hockey here because we haven't talked a lot of Oilers on the show. We got Eric Francis on. We talk Flames a lot. Sprinkle in. What's the mood in Edmonton? Like I'm hearing a lot of people kind of bitching about the back end. I'm sure you get it on your show. When I've tuned into your show, you guys are always talking about, like last night, big second period, like a senior hockey game. They score 5. What's the mood in Edmonton with everything?
It's a lot better this morning than it was yesterday morning. I'll tell you that. That was a little bit better. And what's funny is that, they hadn't played well. The record was very close to sort of what it was last year, but a different team, like some younger guys that they're trying to work in. But they hadn't played very well. And then they had an awful first period. And then it was reported after the game that like the leadership group and the head coach kind of raised some voices finally in the first intermission. It was like, yeah, enough's enough. Like, I guess apparently Knobloch said they turned the puck over in transition 16 times in the first period, and they're just simply can't happen. Usually it's 4 or 5. So, I don't know if that was the wake-up call that they needed, but they came out and pumped 5 at 5-on-5 past them. McDavid had a couple of goals. He only had 1 going into that game. So
weird.
I mean, is it a one-off? It might be a one-off. They get the Rangers on Thursday night. If the Rangers come in here and beat them 3-1, everybody's going to be complaining again. But they did play 7 defensemen last night, which I think is because some of the guys who've been logging 23, 24 minutes hadn't been playing very well. Nurse and Bouchard had awful starts to the year. So, like, Nurse only played 16 minutes last night. We're pretty sure he was benched for the first 6 minutes of the second period. And it worked out. So we'll see what they end up running back.
I heard you guys this morning talking about 11-7, not instead of 6-7, where the kids are, right?
Oh, my God. I mean, I've sort of just given in. Like, I thought it was the stupidest thing forever. Now I know there's a lot of kids that listen to the show, and I've had a few dads be like, my kid the other day really laughed when you said 6-7. I was like, oh, my God.
Yeah. Well, I said it to Maddox Schultz when the last time I interviewed him, and my son, bantam hockey player, and all of his buddies, grade 9, they were just like, what's your dad doing? And I'm like, hey, that's awesome. I love it. Okay. Football. Are you doing the East this weekend?
I'm doing East semifinal and then East final as well. So I'm Thursday. I'm flying out to Montreal. Be there. Call the game Saturday afternoon, and then you know what? If it goes 7 games, the World Series, I'm going to be on a plane back to Edmonton during the World Series Game 7, which not ideal, but I'll see if I can track it down on Air Canada somehow.
Wow, might have to switch a flight. What do you make of this game? Winnipeg, Montreal, Davis Alexander, really good. So everyone buying stock. It's his first playoff game.
Yeah, that'll be interesting, right? He hasn't lost yet. He's a big deal, and he's a gamer, man. Like, I absolutely love watching him play. I think it might end up being close to what everybody sort of thinks. Like, we've been watching the Bombers this year, and you're like, they're not the Bombers of the past. And Zach's been getting hit a lot. He's been hurt a few times. How much does he have left in the tank? I think those are all fair, reasons to be worried for the Bombers, but they do have Brady Oliveira. And Brady Oliveira could, I'm not going to say win a game on his own because you're going to need help along the way, but Brady Oliveira can certainly keep the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in a football game. Mm-hmm. The Blue Bombers core, for the most part, has been to 5 straight Grey Cups. Like, they know how to win in the playoffs. Their coach knows how to win the playoffs. And Jason Moss on the other side, I mean, he's obviously delivered as well. But Davis Alexander's outstanding. Like, a few games that I've got to see when he was healthy this year in person, just terrific. But let's see. Maybe the stage is too big. We don't know yet. I don't think it will be, but there's always that X factor going into the playoffs.
And two of the league's best D, Bombers are more by committee. And in the playoffs, that's the thing that's kind of the X factor for me. It's like, they got some experience there and they got things by committee. That could be a bit of a surprise for some.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, we'll see how Davis Alexander handles Willie Jefferson. Yeah, Willie had double-digit knockdowns this year. Like, he's going to cause some issues with his hands up in the air. Evan Holmes, an awesome defender. Tony Jones, their middle linebacker this year. Big shoes to fill, coming in and replacing Adam Bighill. But he's been all over the field pretty much the entire season. So I am excited to call a playoff game in Montreal. Like, there's great atmosphere at that stadium, Molson Percival, and that's just been in the regular season. I'm sure the playoffs is going to be taken to another level.
I really, really, really want somehow, some way Winnipeg to make the Grey Cup and then have to use the other locker room. Like it's the sicko in me, but I obviously the Riders to be there too, right? But
yeah, it's disturbed. It's disturbing that you wish that, but that would be an amazing storyline in Grey Cup.
Exactly. Have you watched the Netflix series on who killed the Montreal Expos?
You know what? I mentioned it on my show. I'm 20 minutes in. Yeah. So on the flight, where was I last week? Oh, Regina. Yeah. Anyway, on the flight home from Regina, I finished watching, or I watched House of Dynamite on Netflix. Okay. It's like this nuclear war sort of thing. It was, I don't know, I liked it, but I hated it. It's a weird movie. Yeah. But then I started the Expos documentary, and I got about 25 minutes into it. I'm going to finish it tomorrow. That's the first thing I'm going to watch when I get on the plane to Montreal. So I'll finish that. And you know what? Like, I became a Jays fan when they hit the home runs. When I was 10 years old, 11 years old, Joe Carter, World Series. Yeah. But I also always liked the Expos too. Like, to me, I'm a Western Canadian guy. Yeah. I didn't live in Montreal and hate them. Like, I love both Canadian teams. So it did suck when the Expos left. I grew up a Habs fan, so I had a tie to the Expos as well, you know, being a Montreal fan. So I'm very curious. Like, I've never taken a deep dive into it. I know, you know, sort of the things on the edge. So I'm very interested to finish this documentary and see what's up.
Yeah, wait till they start getting into how it all kind of shakes down the year after the strike, and then the stadium, and then the plans for the stadium, and then people being like, that was never going to happen. Like, find out. Like, Quebec was ready to go broke, like, as a province. It's like, yeah, they weren't building a stadium. Okay, but yeah, we'll catch up on that one again. But and then just handicap the West semifinal, because you see so much football. I'm very curious. Is it a VA versus Rourke thing? Is it Dedrick Mills? How much rushing is he going to get done?
Yeah, I mean, if Calgary wins the game, Dedrick Mills is probably going to have like 120 yards. I don't want to take anything away from VA, but Dedrick Mills, to me, is the guy that sort of stirs the drink there when they get him going. I did that game, Calgary's last game, and Vernon Adams, it was here in Edmonton on Friday night, and VA said it, and I would fully agree with them. They had trouble finishing drives. Like, they settled for 10 and 12-yard field goals in that game. So that's not going to cut it against Nathan Rourke and the BC Lions. Like, those guys are basically 30 points out of the gate. So, I mean, they've won 6 in a row. BC's won 6 in a row. Rourke is undoubtedly the MOP in the league this year. BC's defense has been better lately. Still maybe somewhat questionable at times. But as far as storylines go, nothing against the game that I'm calling. But VA taking Calgary back into BC where they cut him loose to choose Rourke, that's phenomenal drama. And I hope it's a close one, and both those guys have opportunities in the fourth quarter.
That's what I think. Before I let you go, I'm just thinking, Game 7, you're on a plane. Why not just go to Game 7?
Well, I would be in Montreal, I guess, because I'm calling the game in Montreal, and it goes to like 5. Okay. So I don't think I wouldn't be able to make it by 6.
Yeah, there's no bullet train.
That's the tough thing. It would be better if it was next week when I'm in Hamilton, because then I could just make the trip. So I think on some of those Air Canada flights you can get like Sportsnet, or I don't know. I was hoping. I usually fly WestJet. I'm on Air Canada for the playoffs, but in WestJet they have like Wi-Fi all the time, and I just watch like my TV. At home on my iPad.
I know. So, it's wild now what they have. I was watching one of my kids' hockey games. I'm like, this stream works on here now? What year is it?
I think technically we're at a point where I could do your show 36,000 feet in the air.
That's an idea. I like that. I like that idea. And then, hey, no kids at home today because the teacher strike's done.
careful what I say about this whole teacher strike thing out here. I try to stay out of politics, but I'll say this: so my wife's a teacher. Both my kids are in grade 5 and 3. I like my family. I like when my wife and kids are around. So I came home today. I got home around, I don't know, like 12:30. It was all quiet. I'm not complaining, but I also like when they're here. So I'll miss them for a little while.
Dusty, it's always so much fun. Glad the radio thing is going well. Love listening to you guys on Edmonton Sports Talk, and travel safe this week, and we'll catch up again.
Yep, thanks a lot, man.
Right on. Dustin Nielson from TSN, obviously 95.7 Cruise in Edmonton. You can hear him every morning now. Nielson, TSN 1260 is his handle on Twitter. EdmontonSportsTalk.com. You can find him. They're awesome. Let's take a break here. It is the Sports Cage. We're streaming at SportsCage.com and on 620 CKRM. We're going to talk about this more in moments, but if you missed it, the Riders lead the West Division with 10 divisional all CFL honorees this year. Last time they've had 10, 1976. First pitch is a little over a half hour away. Game 5, Dodgers Blue Jays tonight. Western Hockey League in town. Regina Pats hosting the Brandon Wheat Kings, 7 p.m. Pre-game show starts here at 6:30 on CKRM. Some Prairie Junior Hockey League. Pilot Buttes traveling into Saskatoon to take on the Wesleys. Male U18 AAA. Notre Dame's in Moose Jaw. Yorkton welcomes Estevan. Only one game in the NHL. Toronto Maple Leafs at Columbus. SportsCage.com poll today. Who do you think the Saskatchewan Roughriders want to play in the West Final? You can vote at SportsCage.com. Sports Ticker is for Regina Steelcraft Doors, made in Western Canada, for Western Canada. Visit them at their 40,000 square foot operation in Regina. Lots of people are getting in for the West Final tickets today. A lot more today, almost as many today as yesterday, Coulson. I'm sorry, you got your work cut out for you. There's no doubt about it on the wheel of winning. What we asked, it was simple. 936-6262, Prairie Line Rentals text line. An athlete that kind of gives you the vibe of this Shohei Ohtani fellow from the Los Angeles Dodgers. Being able to pitch and hit balls to the moon and all that. It's kind of a freak of nature. I think we're going to see it again. I don't think this is a one and done. I bet you there's kids training now all over the world. But then I go back and I was like, when Usain Bolt would sprint and blow the field away, he won 8 Olympic medals, got the world record still in the 100, 200, 4x1. Usain Bolt's right up there for me. Michael Phelps, what do I know about swimming? I still don't know how they do the butterfly. He's got 28 Olympic medals, the most decorated. Those are 2 guys that come to mind for me. And then the other one, although he didn't break any records, was Tiger Woods when he was on his run. It was just phenomenal. And I told the story of how I watched him lose to Y.E. Yang at the 2009 PGA Championship in Chaska, Minnesota. And I was like, Tiger just lost a major? It was so weird. So lots of people, Bo Jackson, we've got arm wrestlers, we've got curlers. Lauren said he had the opportunity to watch Gordie Howe and his 3 sons play in Long Beach, California for the Houston Aeros of the World Hockey League. That's really cool. Yeah, that's something impressive. Coulson, you had some.
Yeah, well, you were just talking Usain Bolt sprinting and then Michael Phelps swimming. I'm like, well, what about triathlons where you have to do swimming, running, and then cycling?
Yeah.
Like athletes that can do that and hold record paces are insane. There's also the decathlon, which that's running, jumping, pole vault, like a bunch of things. There's those athletes which are just all insane. But the one athlete,
well-rounded.
Yeah, the one athlete that I thought of, he's fairly well known in the Olympic circles these last few years. Armand Duplantis, the Swedish pole jumper. Because I don't know the exact details of it, but a lot of countries for the Olympics will be like, if you get a gold medal, we'll pay you $50,000, blah, blah, whatever, right? If you do something special, right? Apparently, a few countries also do it, like if you set a record at a registered competition.
Yeah.
So Sweden's one of those. So every time he sets a world record, he gets, for simplicity's sake, let's say $50,000. He has set 14 world records in like the last 10 years.
Cha-ching.
Or 6 years or so. No, it started jumping in 2014, give or take for that. But like literally what he's been doing is like, okay, the record is 6 meters and 16 centimeters or whatever, right? They put the bar at 6'17", and then he jumps
6'7",
and then the next year they put it at 6'18", and he jumps it or whatever, right? So he just keeps bumping it up just that little bit, so he can come back the next year and break it again. And he's just been doing this since I think 2014, if I'm reading this right. So,
yeah, that's that pole vaulting in general. How the heck do they do it? And how do you train? How do you practice that to start? Like, it's like, all right, like I get maybe you go like at a smaller, but then you go up there and you're like, all right, it's like the guy that has to test that bungee thing off the stratosphere in Las Vegas for the first time. It's like, okay, we're pretty sure this is going to work. Go give it a shot. Okay, yeah, no, that's a good one. Little off the charts because not everyone's going to recognize his name. The arm wrestler guy, I haven't recognized him, but we looked up what he's accomplished. And you said he can go both hands.
Yeah, which I would guess is a normal thing in arm wrestling, just based on he was fighting some of the same people with both arms.
Is it called fighting?
I don't know. Wrestling probably technically, because arm wrestling. But yeah, and again, I wasn't going deep research, but there was a list of his notable matches on Wikipedia from like 1999 till 2025, and it was like 60 wins and 10 losses. Now, I'm sure he's done more than that, but still, if that's the ratio for his entire career, that's ridiculous.
Eric Francis, when we had him on earlier, you can go back and listen to anything we do in podcast form later, watch it on YouTube, told a really cool story about being in Japan and the Shohei Ohtani and how that all came about.
Yeah.
For an NHL insider, he had great insight on baseball. You can go, like I said, go back and listen to it more. So keep the text messages coming on that. 936-6262. The Riders are back practicing today. And Coach Mace was asked, what is the goal of this week's extra practice time?
Just be more detail-oriented, lock into some of the fundamentals of the foundation of who we are, and really just keep the energy where it should be. And again, just execution. You know, it's that time of year, and anybody can win any game. You know, we're in a situation where we have been throwing around bonus week. We get to do this, so we're going to take advantage of it.
The other thing was how the week goes, and if there's any self-scouting this week.
Yeah, you know, a lot of times, you know, that is our focus. What can we do better now? And, you know, being obvious, a lot of really good teams, a lot of really good players and good coaches that can take advantage of some of the things that you do well, but, you know, how you adapt, again, that's kind of self-reflection, right? So we try to focus on what we do, but certainly with the understanding of what our opponent's trying to do to us.
Yeah, we're going to hear more from the Riders as we go along here throughout the week. And they get ready. Back out onto the Prairie Land Rentals text line. Michael saying freak athletes. Sorry, two outstanding individuals. Pelé from Brazil. It's soccer, right? Yeah. And then Cassius Clay. Muhammad Ali. Competition crafts the future. Mike in YQR. He loves Arash's extra hits. Thanks for the words, Mike. That brings up my time. When would that have been? Late 80s? Not Mike Tyson. When he came on the scene, and he was fighting guys that looked like they just got off an 8-hour on the punch press. They'd get into a ring, and then Mike Tyson had absolutely almost knocked their heads off, which I know is almost impossible. But there was a long time there that I was like, I don't think this guy ever loses a boxing match again. And then, yeah, we all know Buster Douglas, Tokyo. It was really weird. But, yeah, good one, Mike. Cassius Clay, Muhammad Ali was before my time. But I know he did some unreal things. 936-6262. You're always welcome to chime in. Colson's giving away West Final tickets. Take a quick break, come back, talk some junior football. And some, we're going to go straight to. Okay, here it is. We got Arash Madani coming up to talk baseball, but let's get into it. It was a wild game. Unbelievable. The Thunder and the Hilltops. Here is the Junior Football Report.
This is the SportsCage Junior Football Report with Dave Thomas.
Sunday's Prairie Football Conference Final wasn't for the faint of heart. The defending PFC champion Regina Thunder hosted their provincial rivals, the Saskatoon Hilltops, for a third meeting of the season. In Week 5, the Hilltops scored an 18-15 win over the Thunder at Mosaic Stadium, while the Thunder beat the Hilltops 24-21 in Saskatoon in Week 8. In the final, the Regina Thunder capitalized on some unforced Saskatoon errors in the first half and jumped out to a 19-8 lead at halftime. In the third quarter, the Hilltops were only able to score a single point with the wind at their backs, giving Regina the 19-9 advantage entering the fourth quarter. In the final quarter, Regina added 5 points with a conceded safety and a field goal to extend their lead to 24-9. Saskatoon would not go away quietly, though, scoring a touchdown at the midpoint of the quarter, and then with 31 seconds left, the Hilltops would score another major and add a 2-point convert to tie the game 24-24. The Thunder weren't done there, though, as they moved the ball into Saskatoon territory, and with no time left on the clock, Thunder kicker Sean Green attempted a 51-yard field goal to win the game. However, the ball would bounce off the crossbar and out. Green was given a reprieve, though, as Saskatoon was flagged for hitting the center, resulting in a second opportunity to win the game, this time from 36 yards out. The second attempt would sail wide to the right. Saskatoon was able to field the kick, run it out of the end zone, and force overtime. Regina was held to a field goal in the opening possession of extra time, making the score 27-24 Thunder. Saskatoon then moved the ball to Regina's 24-yard line, which set up a pass from Griffin Sander to Isaiah Valderuten, who won the game and the PFC championship for the Hilltops by a final score of 30-27. Hilltops head coach Tom Sargent was proud of his team for getting the job done.
Gotta believe. Oh, yeah. Always gotta believe. We certainly weren't the best team for the first 50 minutes, but the heart of a champion finds a way. These kids did. Coaches did a real good job at the end. Ticked off them at the beginning, but they did a good job at the end and made some good calls, and players got to make plays, and they made plays.
Sargent has been the head coach of the Hilltops for 28 years and liked how his team stuck to the game plan in the face of adversity.
Yeah, welcome to life. And that's what I said. These are life lessons, and you just got to keep battling, keep believing, and keep trusting. And the coaches certainly did a good job of staying in the moment. And as I said, we put the ball on some players to get out there and make some plays, and they did that.
Sargent admits, though, he did have to deliver some tough love to the team after a subpar start to the game.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. For the first 50 minutes. Halftime, I wasn't very kind to him either. But at the end of the day, life's about response. What are you going to do about it? And we didn't play great in the third quarter either. But you know what? They dug deep, and they stayed together, and they battled. That's all we expect.
Thunder head coach Scott McCauley felt his team played a solid opening 45 minutes.
Yeah, no, I thought we did everything, our game plan. We did a great job, containing 10 and all that kind of stuff throughout the whole game. And, unfortunately, you can't put the game in other people's hands, right? So
McCauley has been coaching in the Queen City for more than 2 decades and didn't feel that momentum had shifted in the game until the final play.
Not really. The PI in the end zone, that hurts. If that's actually there, but it is what it is.
McCauley shared an emotional message with his team after the loss.
Although I kind of a little bit, proud of them. Still had a good season, still accomplished a lot of things that we wanted to accomplish. So started off with some positives, give them some things to think about, finish it off with positive.
In his 12th season as head coach of the Thunder, McCauley was not blaming his kicker, Sean Green, for the upset.
Yeah, Sean Green won us a lot of games. Yeah. So first off that, and two, he had 2 kicks prior to and stuff that were bang on and put us in the situation that we, had an opportunity to win the game.
McCauley was named the PFC's Coach of the Year and felt proud of his fifth-year players graduating from the program.
Yeah, no, for sure. You want your fifth years to go out with the win, or at least something on the ring and stuff. But the guys that are graduating, they're going to have opportunities to go play youth sports and carry on their careers somewhere else.
Valderutin, in his final year of eligibility with the Hilltops, credited his teammates for not giving up when facing adversity late in the ball game.
Oh, it was a game. We was down kind of big, but at halftime, all the fifth years was talking. We said this cannot be our final game. We got to come to practice on Tuesday. No way we could lose this game. So everybody was locked and loaded after the half.
Valderutin, a native of Elizabeth, New Jersey, played both safety and receiver for the Hilltops this season and says the team's will on the final drive of regulation wasn't going to be denied.
Oh, the final drive to tie it up. We've been here before, especially with Regina, and we did it. The first game we played them, we drove the field, scored last minute, won the game. The second game, we almost did it, but we threw a pick and lost. This game, we had to win. There was no ifs, ands, and buts. We had to.
The 22-year-old admits the joy of his two-point convert tying reception was short-lived when Regina had 2 chances to kick a game-winning field goal.
I ain't gonna lie, I was kind of nervous, but I'm glad he missed. And look, we won the game, so.
On the game's final play, Valderutin admits it didn't work like they thought it would when the call came in from the sidelines.
Oh, the final game plan. We knew they was probably going to be in man, but they actually went zone, and I guess they thought I was going to run the corner, so I faked the corner and went post, and it was wide open. QB threw a perfect ball to me, and we scored, won the game.
The victory gives the Hilltops franchise its 35th PFC championship and earns them a spot in the Canadian Bowl National Championship, where they will host the Okanagan Sun on November 9th. Sergeant says his team is looking forward to that challenge.
We've done pretty well. Hey, once I take this blue and gold uniform on the national stage, they traditionally do real well, and that's a credit to the PFC, and certainly a credit to Regina. Boy, oh boy, that's an outstanding football team right there, and you know what? It just, we just kept battling, kept believing, and we'll take it.
And that's the Junior Football Report. I'm Dave Thomas.